Hey everyone, thanks for joining us at the AZBros Roundtable. I'm Virus and I'm joined by Lockjaw. And today's topic is the stat system in Mario Kart 8 and possible changes in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now recently it was brought to our attention that the stats, at least, the one image we saw, and it's up on your screen, is of the standard kart, standard glider, standard wheels, and Mario, who's basically standard. And all the stats seem to be standardized as well, but that is in Deluxe. When you look at the original game on Wii U, stats are far different. So that begs the question, are the stats all going to be changed in Deluxe? Like karts, parts, characters, all that stuff.
Yeah, so like you said, this was just brought to our attention. I was not aware of this until just recently. And yeah, on the left side you see from the original game, just Mario Kart 8. On the right side is for Deluxe. There's some obvious changes there. You see more acceleration, same speed, but a little bit less weight, a quarter less. You got a quarter more handling, and you got a quarter less traction. So there's some changes. Yeah, and on the right, the Deluxe one, it seems like they really made it like standard, like balanced. Like what you'd expect from the standard for anything in any game. More very, very close. All that they're pretty much exactly like the acceleration, weight, handling, traction are the same. Then you got a quarter more speed. So, but it brings up the question, and this is what the first thing that came to my head is, so obviously there's some changes, but is it changes to the kart parts, like the cart, the tires, and the glider? Or is it changes there that they upped them, or to the weight classes? That's really what the question is. I don't think there's any way to tell from
too.
Here.
It could be all
a little of both. You don't know.
Yeah.
You can't really tell from this image. All we really know at this point is there are some differences between stat-wise. There's differences stat-wise, and there's really no way to know for sure what exactly has been changed.
Well, and for anybody who doesn't know or didn't realize, in Mario Kart 8, the original, there were 7 weight classes, right? I mean,
7.
You still kind of had your light, medium, heavy, but each of those were broken up too.
They varied in stats.
Yeah, so you had like a featherweight or like a super light, this all the way up to like super heavy. So it's 7 classes. We can put that up on the screen too, the different groups. But yeah, each of those weight classes had distinct stats. So like the super light or the featherweights, whatever you want to call them, because I don't even remember. Like
it was featherweight,
there was never official
super
terms,
light,
right?
Light, medium, cruiser, heavy, super heavy.
Okay, yeah.
That is the 7 names that were given to them. I don't know if they ever say that in game, but those were how
most people
referred to them as.
Yeah, so most people knew it by something, either that or something very similar.
That's how I referred to them. Yeah.
But yeah, so in the very lightest weight class, you had like your base weight speed or the stats I'm looking at right now have like ground and water. Like,
well,
that's
they had
really
a lot of
going out.
subcategories. You remember, you had your main, which they show in game, and I never knew if this was legitimate or not or real. But they said they had like subcategories.
Yeah.
So you have your speed, but you have ground speed, which I guess, assuming is what they show in game. Then you have water, air, anti-gravity, and that all varied as well for all the different weight classes. Never knew if that was true or not, because in game they only show five different categories, but then you have the subcategories as well. And but I
was never sure if there was like a standardized speed and handling that didn't go for like ground, water, air, anti-gravity, or if those just always are naturally going to have different ones. But anyway, so for the ground speed, for like the lightest class, it was 2.25 or 2 and a 1/4 bars. For the super heavies, the heaviest weight class, the speed was 4 3/4.
So that's almost 2.5, right?
Yeah,
I believe 2.5 bars difference from speed. Yeah,
so I mean, you saw a big change, and really in all stats. Again, you look at the weight,
that's a pretty
the handling,
drastic change from the lightest class. I would like for them to close in the gap a little, if possible. Not sure if they're going that route, because like I said, this may be changes to the parts, the stats of the parts of the vehicle, like the cart, wheels, and glider. It may be changes there, and not the changes to the weight classes. But like I said, we don't know, or a little of both. But I would like for them. It would be nice if they could close in the gap a little. Maybe only make it
Definitely,
like a bar and
yeah.
a quarter or a bar difference, if possible. Maybe they'd have to do a bar and a half since there's like 5.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Maybe they could do a bar.
Well, one thing, and this is what I remember us talking about this a lot more, like when the game first came out, like when we were really, really into it. But it always bothered me that there didn't seem to be that much, because again, most people just went heavy, for the speed. But I didn't see that risk reward. Like really, what was the reward for picking a light character? What did you really get over a heavy? Because remember, if you played your cards right and you picked the right combos, you could pretty much get your stats super good no matter what as a heavy.
Yeah.
But as a light, you were always limited. You could never quite get your speed up, or you were lacking like in weight.
Well,
it was always skewed towards heavies.
Well, in my opinion, the most important stat in the game is speed.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have, you have 4 other stats, so, they do something. Yeah. But in my opinion, the most important one was speed. As far as like handling and traction, I never had problem being a super heavy maneuvering on these courses. You just had to adjust when you drifted, and then you were good to go. And the courses were so wide in this game that it was never that big of a deal. So the fact that the lighter characters generally get more handling and traction and acceleration, it never really
there was no reward for that. Yeah,
the speed was like the stat to have. Like that was the most important, because like I said, you can adjust for handling and traction. You can't adjust your speed. When you have low speed, you have low speed. If you can't handle, or if there's like really sharp turns or bad traction, you can adjust for that just by skill alone. And there was nothing really light characters could do to adjust their speed.
Yeah.
So, and like we were saying, there's the 7 weight classes. I'm almost thinking that's a little much.
Tough to balance,
I almost
right?
wonder if they would maybe change it and make like
simplify it,
like
right?
like 3, or I don't know if they could do 3, but like 5 maybe.
Well,
or
personally, I would like to see them
less.
go back, because it used to always be light, medium, heavy, right? Like every game always
I think
seemed
so.
like had your
I
light,
think
medium,
so,
heavy.
Yeah, like it's weird that you have to have a whole separate category for the babies, like the featherweight, and then you have to, and then like Larry and some of the other characters like Toad, Koopa are in the super light category. It's like, why weren't they just bunched together?
Well, remember, we were wondering, like, in previous games, Donkey Kong would always be equivalent to Wario, Bowser, the heavies.
Yeah.
But now it's like suddenly he moves down, like he goes a lot lower. Like, or what was he, one
he's 2 slots lower, he's cruiserweight.
Yeah, like that was
Wario
weird to me.
is super heavy.
Yeah, so the heavy, I guess, was...
The medals were the only 2 heavies in the game.
Yeah. Well, that was weird. Like, okay, so honestly, Donkey Kong and Waluigi, same weight class. Like, that doesn't seem realistic to me.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe they went more with size of character.
Yeah,
you know what
maybe,
I mean?
yeah.
But it is weird. Wario seems exceptionally like he gained some weight for this game because he seems pretty darn big.
He heard about fire hopping
game.
and all that stuff. Like, you needed your speed and all that.
Yeah, compare the Wario like in Smash. And then compare him here. It looks like he gained a few pounds.
That is, yeah,
when he's
true.
going, he needs to get to that heavy. He knows it's the best
well,
one,
remember,
so he's got to gain some weight.
Remember Morton in Smash too.
They had to change him up a little bit. But yeah, it would be nice if they could close in the gap a little bit as far as stat, because it is sad. Like, man, I was telling you the other day, I'm forgetting a lot of these characters, like Baby Mario, Lakitu, Toadette. I mean, you just forget they're in the game. Koopa Troopa.
Yeah.
I mean, these lighter weight classes you forget, and if they could somehow help them out a little bit, I think that would be nice to see some more variety when it comes to the racers in the game. I think that'd be really nice.
What would be your ideal number of weight classes? Would you go as low as 3, or would you rather see something in the middle between the 3 and then the 7?
I would say 5 is still a little bit much. But I would prefer to see 3. I just think light, medium, heavy that's good enough. You can do it. I think they did that for Mario Kart Wii. They've done it for a lot of the games. I mean,
it would be so much easier to
sense.
balance. Like we were saying, the difference between featherweight and super heavy is so extreme.
Yeah, what was
it?
it?
Doesn't
2.5?
make sense.
It was 2.5 bars. If you only had 3, you could maybe have that just be like 3/4 or something of a gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In between every stat, it could be just like, or just a bar. Somehow they could manage it to where it's like a lot less of a gap between, or difference between the lightest and the heaviest. And yeah, I mean, like I was going to point out too, certain stats are just not as important. It really seemed to me in this game that acceleration wasn't that big of a deal as it was in, like, let's say Mario Kart Wii or Double Dash. It just doesn't seem to be as effective. And on top of that, from what I've heard at least, and always have heard, that the acceleration is done in tiers. It's
Yeah,
the only stat that's done in tiers. For instance, if you have 2.5 bars of acceleration, it shoots you down to 2. If you have 2 1/4, same thing. Even if you have 2 3/4, it's going to round you down. It always rounds you down.
So it really
have to
limits
even
you.
it out.
It limits
You're
you in your
wasting
choices,
stats.
right? Because like when you're looking at different car parts, like for me, I remember seeing like a glider that would add like 1/4 of a bar of acceleration. But I knew that meant nothing.
That makes so many combinations in Mario Kart obsolete, does it not?
Because it really does.
You can still use it.
If
no one's stopping you from
if you're
using
looking
it,
at the stats, yeah.
but you're wasting stats. Who wants to
Exactly,
waste
yeah.
stats? Nobody.
Yeah, no.
So they're not technically like you just can't use it because you have 2.5 acceleration. It's just you're wasting stats. You're throwing out a half a bar if you have 2.5 accelerate. You're throwing that out. Another thing I wanted to point out is acceleration is a stat that the lighter weights gain. That's like their advantage to the heavier weights, right?
Yeah.
The lighter you get, the more acceleration you get. But it's kind of funny when you think about that, because how much does it really help? Like I said, just in general anyway, it doesn't seem like that big of a difference from 2 bars to 3 to 4. But the higher acceleration you get, and then the lower the speed. Like I said, lower weight classes are slower anyway. They have lower speed. So that means you're going to be in the back of the pack anyway.
Right.
You usually get mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
Mushrooms just completely negate acceleration because it boosts you up to your max speed.
Yeah.
So you're in the back of the pack by default because you have low speed. You get hit, you're probably going to have a mushroom or get a mushroom. Boom, you get right. So if like a heavyweight was back there, a super heavy, they get hit. They only have 1 acceleration. They have a mushroom. Full speed. Yeah. So that doesn't even go hand in hand. It doesn't help at all because you're going to be in the back of the pack just by default having low speed. So your high acceleration isn't helping you really.
Well, not too. Like when you get your mushroom, like
you're usually going to have a mushroom in the back when you're.
Well, here's a question, and maybe I guess I never looked it up. I never really thought too much about it. But now that we're talking about the stats. When you do a mushroom, what is the max speed? Is it your max speed or is it an in-game max speed?
Well, it's obviously mushrooms boost you beyond your speed anyway, but that's what I'm saying. Then it's just gonna just gets you there.
If you had a super heavy and a featherweight right next to each other, they're same standard, whatever their stats are.
Yeah,
would you actually go at the same speed? I wonder. I wonder for that boost period. I don't know.
Or if it just adds up. I actually don't know about that.
Anybody who knows that, for sure, let us know. I'm actually very curious about that.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's one of the things they have. But it really only helps if you're front running, which is really hard to do because they're gonna be getting you anyway. They're gonna be hitting you, and then you can recover from it. If you're already in the back, if you're far back and like 8th place, you're gonna be getting all these mushrooms and stuff. So you get hit. It's not going to help you because for a super heavy and a light, you're going to use a mushroom to boost to your top speed anyway.
Yeah.
So I just really think it would be nice if they helped out the lower weight classes. I think that'd be really cool. Well, I think people would use them more as well.
One thing we had talked about, because again, I've always just used heavy characters. I typically main in Mario Kart. If you pick mains, I always pick Wario. I've always liked Morton, so when he was in this game, I used them both. You have always been different characters, but in this game, you were trying some of the lighter characters.
Yeah,
right?
for me, my main character in the beginning was Larry.
Yeah,
and he's in the super light category. And then it's funny because I was playing and having fun, but then I was like, you're so light when you're obviously you're a super light character. You get bumped off the road nonstop. You're really slow. And I'm like, okay, let me bump up to medium. Then I used Iggy for a little bit.
Well, what was the max speed you were able to get ideally when using?
I don't remember, 3 1/4. It seemed like, and I used a bike as well. I couldn't quite get that good combination in one of the, because I like the inside drift bikes. I couldn't find that perfect combo because it always seemed like, I get all my speed, but it always shoots me down the acceleration because I can only get 2 3/4, and I'm like, I just need that one more. I just need a quarter more acceleration. I was really always struggled finding that perfect combo because either I had to sacrifice speed or I had to sacrifice acceleration.
And then you were always, no matter what, going to have bad weight.
Yeah, and that was for the inside drift bike. I just could never quite get that good combo, which is just unfortunate. I wish they would do away with the whole acceleration tiers. Because there would have been other combos that would have been really nice that I would have liked, but it hurts me knowing I'm wasting stats. It hurts to do that. I don't like to waste stats.
Well, I remember when I was trying to find my ideal combo, and again, I wasn't necessarily trying to do it for the fire hopping or the super speed. I just one thing that I was comfortable using getting enough acceleration where I didn't feel like every time I got hit I just stopped and could never move, and then I didn't need it too fast. But I believe I was getting like a 4 1/4 speed and like a 3 acceleration. That is so sad when you consider that, like you had pretty good acceleration, but you could never come near the speed.
Being the light characters, most of your stats were going into the handling, traction, and acceleration. That's like the biggest difference. Like I said, really, I see time trial. Everyone's being the super heavy character. They have no problem on a course like Neo Bowser City where it's wet and your traction's a little worse. Yeah. On the dry desert, or whatever the desert one from the GameCube for Double Dash, they have no problem. Because like I said, you can compensate depending on when you drift, when you start the drift, where you're located when you start your drift. You can compensate.
Well, you know what's funny? I actually
You can't compensate in like, I can just magically get more speed. It's like, no, speed is speed. Yeah. The other stuff you can compensate for. The handling and traction can be compensated for. You can decide where you're using your drift. And I've also heard, I think they said it was traction. The less traction you have, the quicker you get your mini turbo. Not 100% there, so you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too.
I heard that somewhere, and they said, so on certain turns, where a light character would just be able to get, because it's like the more you turn or something.
Yeah,
the light characters would only be able to get a blue boost, and the heavy characters, since they have less traction, get the yellow boost, and it's like that's just even more reason why they're just better,
Yeah, like I believe the boost was coming like when you how far into the turn you were turning or whatever,
something like that.
The angle, and so the other one it would always keep you kind of.
You're so straight. Good, you have so much good traction or it was handling or traction, one of those, and it was just since you had better. You just boom. You go through the turn, and you'd only get the blue mini turbo, and then the heavy characters, since they had less,
always were getting that
they
double.
got the other one. Yeah, so.
Well, it's funny because, like, for me, like, speed is going to be number one. But I also like acceleration, especially being a heavy. But I also just using the heavy character. I felt like I could get any combination I wanted. You know what I mean?
It goes hand in hand when you're a heavy character because you're going to be front running because you have the speed. Yeah. You're not going to be getting a mushroom, a star, bullet bill, or anything to boost you to your max speed. So having that acceleration helps because being in the front, you're going to probably get hit and you're not going to have those items. So then you get your speed back.
Yeah.
But that, like I said, because those go hand in hand. The speed and the good accelerator, because you're going to be in the front of the pack, probably in first or second. You get hit, and you don't have a mushroom to boost you up. So those are nice. If you do have lower acceleration, and just having it anyway, you may not have that mushroom, so you just get back to your top speed quicker. But like I said, it doesn't go hand in hand when you have low speed and high acceleration, because you're not going to be front running majority of the time. I know you can. I've front ran or whatever, as well as like here, so you can do it. I'm just saying majority of the time in the way the stats work. Most of the time when you have low speed, you're not going to be front running because you don't have the speed to front run. They're going to be faster than you. Be it the back of the pack, having high acceleration is pointless. You can have 5 bars or 6, the full amount of acceleration and 1 speed. How's that going to help you? Because you're going to be in 12th place, you're going to get hit, you're going to have a mushroom to boost you anyway. Yeah. So that doesn't really go hand in hand like it does for the heavy characters, in my mind, in my opinion.
Well, here's a question. This is something that I've heard people say, and it makes sense, and I could see Nintendo go why they would do this. But what are your feelings on the weight classes in this game being geared towards difficulty? So, for example, somebody using a featherweight is a beginner. So somebody who maybe needs more handling, more traction, and they're not necessarily trying to compete, so the speed doesn't matter.
Control.
And then a heavy would be considered more for the expert players, so that you're going weight or traction handling you don't need. Your weight, you're a little bit slower. In some cases, or not slower, but acceleration's not as much, but your speed's a lot higher. So in some cases, high speed can be hard to handle anyway. So I've heard people say that before, that if you have a little brother or something and they're going to play for the first time, use a light character, super light or something. Let them ease into it, yeah. And then when they become experts at it, go Wario, Morton, even up.
I think that's kind of a dumb. I mean, I get it. Yeah. It's kind of dumb if that was their intent.
It makes it where if you're for you example, you were saying you wanted to use.
I just want to use my favorite character.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was using Larry to start.
Yeah.
I just want to use whatever character I like.
And that's not fair to force you to say, well, but you only can really.
In
use
that
it
case,
if you're
don't make any. Just make it say just name it Kart Game, and then just have. They don't have any just blank character. Yeah. Pretty much.
Don't give us characters if they're not viable. Because I'm
or just make it be the Mii's and just say you just choose your weight class. You're not picking characters at that. Another suggestion that I think we both had and you're thrown out there at one time or another is why not just have it where it's purely based on cards? So
exactly,
so you can be any character, but the only thing that for the stats, the only thing that gets stats are the cards and the parts, right?
Yeah.
So you can be Toad in the gold card, and you're going to have 5 speed, 5 acceleration, whatever, right down the board. And then you'd be Wario in that same combination, and you're going to have 5 speed, 5 acceleration, so on and so forth, right? So in that case, the only thing that you're choosing as far as stats go are your karts and your kart parts, like the tires and the kart and the glider. The characters are purely just, hey,
so
my favorite character is Larry. I'm going to be him. Okay, now let me choose a kart combo. Oh, pipe frames and slim tires and whatever glider is what gives you the best stats. So I can still be my favorite character. So you're going to see a lot of the same kart combos because that's what's going to determine what's best and what's worse.
Yeah.
But you're going to see all the different characters. But you can be any character you want. It's not going to have any effect on the stats whatsoever. That would be my ideal Mario Kart game. I know people can come up with reasons why that would be a problem, or just like it wouldn't make sense, and I get it. And usually, oh, hey, well, if you have a heavier character in there, it should be a little heavier. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's just, that would be my ideal way of making a Mario Kart game. So you can be any character you want. It doesn't matter one bit, but the only thing that stats affect are the karts and the kart parts. So
yeah, for me, the way I always like to see in any game, whether it's a racing game, a fighting game, whatever it may be, I like to see that proper balance of risk and reward. So for example, like Mario Kart games have never been perfect, so don't I'm not saying that, I'm not implying that they had it right at any given time, but the way the system used to be, from my understanding, like in Super Mario Kart or even like 64, you had your light, medium, heavy. So lights had low speed, but good handling. Mediums were balanced. And weight, too. Like the lights had low weight, low speed, but good acceleration, I guess it would have been. Did I say handling? It was kind of tight in, remember? You didn't have all the stats. Heavies, on the other hand, had bad acceleration, super high speed, and super weight. And then what do you call them? Medium, yeah. I was gonna say like your average or whatever.
Standard.
They were just average on all of it. So they never were going to excel at speed, excel at weight, excel at acceleration. But they were never going to be great at anything. But they also weren't going to be terrible. But yeah, the other two were like, I like that balance where I felt like you couldn't go wrong, but you would be a risk reward.
You know what I mean? You go in a lighter cart
to
get, if you want those stats. You go in a heavier cart if you want speed. Characters would have no effect on stats whatsoever.
So would you have like weight classes and all that stuff?
But it would
like
be
for the
parts. Yeah. So you can balance it and make the perfect combination.
So you could have a light character in a heavy cart and be a heavy character.
So everybody loves the stats for a super heavy character. The pipe frames, slim tires, and whatever glider gives you the perfect stats for the perfect 2 accelerator, whatever that combo is. So everybody loves that combo. So what I'm saying is you take that combo and you just apply it to any character. You have those same stats and apply it to any character.
Well, like we were saying, in real life, it's just because like if I weigh a whole lot more, but I drive like a small car, like how much is it really going to matter? The car still weighs a certain amount,
Yeah, and this is, like I said, I get it. Like, yeah, these are karts and they're smaller, and it's like if you have a really huge character like Wario compared to a baby character, I get why it would be heavier. But I'm saying, like, if they could somehow make, I don't know if it would make that much of a
difference in some cases. Like we say, if you put a better engine into it,
and games aren't entirely realistic anyway, right? So they can find some way to make it work. I think. Remember in Double Dash, the gold cart, it was same stats no matter what.
That's
so
true,
that they kind of did it there. Actually, I think maybe the weight was different. I don't remember. I think it was the same. I'm pretty sure
it was all maxed out
all the way. I think speed, acceleration, weight was the same. It was like 3-4 something or 3-2. I don't remember. Whatever it was, I'm pretty sure it was no matter who you were in it.
I don't remember.
No, I think whoever you were in it was like the same stat. So they kind of did it. But remember that game, they were bigger carts. So maybe then in the next Mario Kart, they're just going to have bigger carts and then have it where so they're like, hey, see, that's why the weight of the character doesn't make a difference because carts are a little bigger. So it's not
in Double Dash, didn't they have it where certain characters couldn't drive certain vehicles? So like the lights couldn't drive like the bigger vehicles.
They could do it if they had a heavy character paired with them. So like if you had like Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, they couldn't drive Bowser's cart because they're both light characters. But if you had Baby Mario and Bowser, you could be in that combo in a heavy cart.
Yeah.
But
you could never have Bowser driving the baby carriage.
You could never have any of the heavy characters being the lighter ones. I don't think you could do that at all. seemed like, I don't know, maybe you could. I can't remember now. Like, my question is, could you have had, because I don't remember, like Bowser and Baby Mario in the stroller, the little baby stroller? Could you?
I don't think you could. I think you had to have all the lights in it. So like,
it seemed like you couldn't do that. So
Koopa,
there were some limitations there.
Well, here's something I thought of actually, and this is again, I during these roundtables, I like to just pose questions to each other and also to the listeners. We always encourage you, hey, we're going to ask some questions to each other. Go ahead, you answer them too. But my question is, so we're talking about the weight classes, and we said maybe like even 5, like 3 and 7 is like old style, the new style 7. What if you did 5 weight classes, and each one excelled at one of the 5 main stats? So you had speed, acceleration, weight, handling, traction. Of course, the ones excelling in handling and traction are not going to be that great. But you would then maybe you could balance it better that way. Like I said, so you say for the heavies, it's only for the weight, so the speed is actually not that great on them. Like they're just really heavy, but they can only max out at like 3 speed.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just think one thing that would really help Mario Kart, at least Mario Kart 8, is if they would have had some way to make it where the handling and traction stats really, truly did matter. I mean, so I know people probably are disagreeing with me right now, and that's fine. But I just believe that you can compensate for the kart or the combination or having low handling and traction. I just think that there's, like I said, I can go right now and really have horrible like one handling and traction, and I could be in that combo, and I could race
I've done it before. I've done it.
Any course. I could go and I could race. You just have to compensate when you start your drift, when you whatever, how you do your turn.
Well, like you were saying too,
the position on the track you are when you start. I mean, you just compensate and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's nothing that you can compensate to get you more speed.
Well, like we were saying, there are some instances or a lot of instances where you actually want it to be lower. Like you actually want your traction handling to be lower because it actually gives you more freedom in driving your car.
So if you knew certain things, like if you were and you had like horrible handling and track, like a bar or maybe even less, and you were like, it truly is like near impossible to race on certain courses, then that would make sense. Because then you're like, well, I'm going to really excel on this course because it's a lot of straightaways and stuff, like the normal Mario Circuit one or whatever. But I'm going to be dead in the Dry Desert or Neo Bowser City. Like, I'm going to have to like stop and seriously like go to a complete stop to make this turn because those stats are important. If they had some way to make those stats work that way, where it was like give and take, like,
risk reward,
like risk reward, exactly. If they had some way of doing that, that'd be great. Because then it's like, well, I'm this smaller character. I have overall low speed, so I'm going to be a low speed just on any course. But I can get through any course easily. So when they're having to stop on those turns, you're going boom, easy, non-stop, just going through these turns. Traction, it's almost like when you're on a dirt track, it's almost like you're on road when you have high traction. You know what I mean?
Well, like we're saying,
and it's like they're all out of control, and you're perfectly fine.
Well, like we're saying, for Mario Kart 8 as it is right now, what is the risk to being the super heavy in a super fast car? It's really very...
like I said, you're just going to have to compensate acceleration. Here and there. That's it. And it's really not that bad anyway. Like I said, it's not that hard to compensate. That's your only thing. You're going to have an easier time just maneuvering when you have the better handling and traction. Yeah. But that's really the only thing, is when you have less, you're just going to have to compensate a little bit more and really... think about your turns a little bit more. So
I always look at that like I don't really consider that middle of the ground. I always say let's look at the top, let's look at the bottom. So when I look at the heavies and I say what's the risk, I really don't see any that jump out at me. There, of course, there's going to be some minor risk, but in this game they're masked. You don't really notice them. You can cover up or make up for them. But when I look at the
ways
super
around
lights,
certain stats, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But when you look at the super lights, where is the reward? Is there any reward or redeeming qualities to being a super light character? I don't see it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't see it.
And I get it that, like you were saying, like maybe it is meant to just be like, oh, well, the babies are just, for casual gamers. But it's like, what if someone really liked like Lemmy or like
a lot
Baby
of people
Mario
like
or
Toad
right?
or I like Koopa Troopa.
Saying, like with me,
I wanted to use Koopa Troopa.
I know that the game is never supposed to be taken too seriously. I mean, it is Mario Kart. There's some randomness, some RNG as far as items go.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be taking it and being like, I have to be the best and I'm going to win every race and this and that. I get it. It's not really meant to be that way. Yeah. But I mean, come on. When there's any game where you're competing, at least for me, I just have that mentality. I want to at least be able to compete and win and still be the character I want to be. I guess that comes from my fighting game background, but I mean that's just how I am.
Well,
so I want to be Larry, my favorite character, and I want to compete. I want to have the chance. But I know, like I said, I that's how I was in the beginning, and then the more the game you know, like when I played the game where I'm like, there's a lot of randomness, and it is what it is. It's not meant to be taken extremely seriously, so I did it, and I've stopped taking it extremely seriously.
Yeah. Would you like to see some? So I'm trying to think of how I would word this or how I would explain it. But for example, like in the fighting games, you've got your like heavy characters, you've got your zoning characters or your melee characters. You've got different fight. Yeah, you've got your fight styles, and so you can kind of pick and choose, or just you play the game differently depending on your style. In Mario Kart, would you like to see certain things like for the different weight classes that would make a different style of racing? So you say, well, this is more like an all-around racer who's not good at anything in particular, but he's good all around. He's overall decent. But then for heavy, like there's a certain style you would do, or even like a small character, you say, well, if you're a small character, maybe you can take certain shortcuts, or you can drive in the grass or something. Get into,
like tunnels. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Like the super light characters, there was like little like tunnels you could go into that the big characters couldn't fit into, but the small characters could fit into.
So there would be a reason to be the small characters.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Maybe for Mario Kart 9.
Possibly. We're throwing out ideas, so because we know Nintendo's going to watch this right now.
Yeah.
I wish. But
we'll probably do a separate roundtable on or like a predictions or a speculation on the next game or what we want to see in it, because we actually did one recently of the top 9 characters we want to see in Mario Kart 9. Check it out if you haven't.
And it would be nice to be able to use a lot of those characters, because some of them are a little smaller.
That's true. Like why would you be Nabbit? Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Like Nabbit was a little smaller,
so
hopefully
no spoiler there.
They will. Yeah, that's just a little sneak peek. If you want to see our whole list, you don't know where he's at on the list, so if you want to see the whole list, check out that video. But I think what we can take from this, from the different stats, is it is promising the fact that they are changing the stats and not just having it completely
really
identical. We had someone comment in one of our previous videos, and they were talking about how some of the music was changed. And I actually did notice that, and they brought it up. I'm like, that's really cool. And just little things like that. That's just a minor thing that doesn't affect anything. But any little thing they can change. Changing menus. Changing the soundtracks a little bit. Changing the stats. I mean, that's going to help.
Is that how they're justifying it for the full price? Is that how they're justifying it?
So still not a fan of the full $60 for it. But I'm just saying, regardless, it is very promising to see that. And once again, I want to know what you guys think, because I don't know if there's any way to tell from here. I don't think there is. But do you think they're changing this right here, this image that we have on the screen, is changing the stats from the vehicles, like the karts, or do you think it's changing the stats for the weight classes? Because I really don't know. I don't know if there's a way to tell.
Or some combo.
Or maybe a little of both. I really want to know what you guys think.
I want to hear the theories.
Because I personally think it's going to be better if they change it for the weight classes.
I agree.
But who knows? This could just be purely they changed the standard kart. Maybe this is all they changed from all the kart parts. I don't know. This is all speculation, so please let us know what you think. I think it's better for them to change weight class stats as opposed to kart parts.
Yeah, I would much prefer to see the weight classes change.
I think that's a better chance of balancing the game and seeing more characters in the game and not just all the super heavies. So,
well, you know what I'm wondering too is, did they design the stats for the parts and the karts in 8 to do they do it around the weight classes? So they may by default have to change it either way.
Yeah.
But definitely I would say let's make weight classes more important and standardize them a little bit more. Like bring them close. Like I think MKX did that, right? MKX, a fighting game, Mortal Kombat.
Whenever you have a tier system and characters, you try to close the gap a little bit between the top tier and the bottom tier. Right now, the top tier would be the super heavies, and the bottom tier would be featherweights, in my opinion. Yeah. So closing that gap a little bit, make them a little closer in in stats and stuff.
Again, I would like to see, like we've been saying this all throughout this. I'd like to see the lighter characters and just really every character be viable in the game. Not that people don't already. I know people go online, they use inside drift bikes on light characters, and you can win. But still, you're always underpowered. You know you are. Like it is.
Like I said, I know the game isn't meant to be like that hugely competitive game. I know a lot of people do the clan wars, which is really cool. I watched a lot of those. Yeah. It's really fun to watch. I mean, they know their track, but they're all beating the super heavies. Every now and then you might see a bike. I think one time I saw a bike, and they were actually competing. But that goes with the whole RNG from the items. Like,
that's right.
If you get good items and you get lucky, you'll win. But yeah, I mean, the game, I know it's not supposed to be taken too seriously. Like, there is a lot of randomness. But like I said, I always like to just be able to compete and know I have a chance.
Yeah. And being who you want to be, and just, like I said, having fun but still able to compete. I think find that middle ground where I can be who I want. You might not be the
best on paper, but you can win if you, if things go your way.
There are a ton of kart combinations that I would love to use for my
I was
characters.
going to say that
I can't
clown
do
car
it.
coming out,
do
I
it.
want to use it. But what if it just isn't that great? I can still use it, but like I said, I want to use it and show it off and compete with it. So we'll see.
Well, one quick thing here. We are wrapping up here. This has gone a lot longer than we expected, but it is a good discussion, a good debate.
Yeah.
But again, since they're possibly making some major changes to Deluxe, would you like to see them make some real changes between like the ATVs and like the plane carts,
that's a whole nother topic right there.
outside drifting bikes as opposed to the inside? Like, there's a lot of possibility for changes, especially for the ATVs.
We actually had a couple ideas for that. We'll have to write them down, and maybe we'll do that.
May be a separate discussion,
because that's pretty. Yeah, I would love to see some variety in the options. Like I said, there's technically 4 options. You got the inside drift bike, outside drift bike. You got the ATVs and the karts. I'd like to see them all have something different.
That would be awesome.
And maybe they have some slight differences, but I think it's mostly stats right now. So
yeah, again, there's still. It's funny because I felt like we knew everything about Deluxe, and the more they're showing, and the closer we get, we're learning some new stuff.
And hey, if you guys see anything like this, please let us know. Because
bring it to our attention.
We will do a video and really elaborate on it and look a little further into it, just like we did here. This is something we discovered on our own, but this is what we do. We talk about stuff like this, speculate, and whatever. So
yeah, getting either questions from you guys, getting suggestions for topics, or just bringing something to our attention. That helps us make content.
When we were told about the soundtracks, I didn't know. I didn't know about that, so that was really cool.
Yeah, we pick up on a lot of stuff, but obviously we miss a lot of stuff too, as do a lot of gamers. You don't always notice it. Like for example, in the trailer, you noticed Gold Mario immediately. I did not.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't notice it. So again, help be our eyes and ears and bring stuff to our attention. Again, this is a roundtable discussion. You're involved too. It's not just us. Everybody's involved in this. So. Yeah, share your thoughts with us. If you have questions, ask us. It may be a future Ask AZBros video. It may just be another roundtable giving us questions. So, But I think on that note, we will be wrapping this up right now.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's a lot more to talk about, but I think we covered a lot of it. I think we covered the majority of it.
Yeah.
And all this is just from a couple images here. One is from Mario Kart 8, one is from Deluxe.
Yeah.
You see differences.
It really gets you thinking, huh? It just really
does.
makes you wonder what else and how exactly is it. Like I said, is it the karts that are being changed? Is it the weight classes? It really makes you start to think. So, like we said, let us know what you guys think in the comment section.
Speculation is always fun for any game. You know what I mean?
I do it a lot.
Fans,
I do it a lot.
That's what makes being a fan fun, is speculating on what.
Yeah, that's what I love about video games, is being able to speculate on what could be coming for the next game, or what might this mean.
So, if you guys enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more from us, go ahead, subscribe, check out our other videos. We got a lot of stuff up there. Check it out. As always, we encourage you to leave comments, questions, all that good stuff. We have our social media links in the description below. But yeah, it's going to do it for us. So we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.